Oh, okay. Do it off mic. That was me.
Okay.
Ready? Shabbat Shalom. We are a small crew tonight, but that's okay. We hope there's a larger crew out there as well. Everybody here can wave to each other. Everybody out there, turn to the people around you at home, wish them Shabbat Shalom. And we will begin this evening on page 9 or 127. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope. For Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living. For Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness. For Shabbat peace, born of friendship and love, we offer thanks and blessing, O God. We turn to pages 2 and 3, or 120 and 121, for the lighting of the Shabbat candles. Singing Malkat Shabbat at the bottom of page 10 or 128. Page 12 or 130. Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai. Raise a shout for our rock and deliverer. Let us come into God's presence with praise. Let us raise a shout for God in song. For Adonai is a great God, the great ruler of all divine beings. In God's hands are the depths of the earth. The peaks of the mountains are God's. God's is the sea, God made it, and the land which God's hands fashioned. Come, let us bow down and kneel. Bend the knee before Adonai our Maker. For Adonai is our God, and we are the people God tends, the flock in God's care. Oh, if you would but heed God's charge this day. We turn to pages 20 and 21, or 138 and 139, as we prepare to welcome in the Shabbat Kala with the singing of Lechadodi. We'll sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. When we come to the last verse, here or at home, you can stand, face the entrance so that we can welcome in Shabbat. page 26 or 144. Page 30 or 148. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna mishaneh itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Uma'avir yom umevi laila. Umavdil ben yom uvein laila. Adonai tzvaot shema. El chai v'kayam. Tamid yemloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai. Hama'ariv aravim.
Oh Yisrael.
Amen.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated.
V'yavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol miotecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shibtecha b'veitecha u'lechtecha b'derech u'shokbecha u'v'komecha u'kshartam lehot ayadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
In the middle of page 39 or 157, we read responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Baruch atah Adonai Shmo Yisrael.
Amen. Page 43 or 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will.
Baruch atah Adonai Haporei sukat shalom aleinu v'yakol amo Yisrael v'ya Yerushalayim.
Amen. We continue with Yisrachu at the bottom of page 44 or 162.
ישמחו במלכותך, ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג, עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג, עונג שבת. Mekadeshei Shevi, Mekadeshei Shevi, Shabbat, Kulam yisbehu, ve'yitangu mityovecha, Shabbat, yismechu b'malchutecha, yismechu b'malchutecha, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg, oneg Shabbat. רצית בו וקידשת שבת, ומתת ימימה אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג, עונג שבת.
We rise for tefillah on page 46 or 164.
Elohim
Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, ritzei v'imnuchatenu. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence.
Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch Hu Barashemo.
Shotach levadcha bi'ranavod.
Amen. Page 58 or 176.
Le'olam
Shalom Rav, our prayer for peace on page 60 or 178. Take a few moments now to pray or meditate in silence. Our prayer for healing is on page 253 or 371. Sheberach Avotenu ve'imotenu, Abraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah, Hu Yivarech et HaCholim. We ask God's blessing upon those for whom we pray for healing. anyone here or at home has the name of a loved one they would like to share, please say their name aloud now. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Aleihem, Lahachalimam Ulerapotam Ulahachazikam, Levishlach Lahem Mehera Refuah, Refuah Shlema Min HaShamayim, Refuat HaNefesh uRefuat HaGuf, Hashtave Agala uVizman Kariv V'Nomar, Amen. Okay, Elle, I'm going to zoom in. Tell me if it worked.
I'm looking.
Did it work?
Yes, a little
Okay.
out of focus, but you're there.
It's out of focus. Well, hopefully I'm in focus at home. And the only reason I'm zooming in tonight is because I have a few pictures to show you. So I wanted to make sure you could see them on the live stream. So as far as I know, I have not, in all my years, inspired that much artwork. Not many of us have, but you know. Some of the children of my congregations have drawn me occasionally. Max Batcher, I'm thinking about you, when you were little. But only one artist decided to take the time to create 2 works of folk art with me as their muse. Her name is Bobby Shore, and she was the museum curator at Congregation Beth Israel in West Hartford, Connecticut, where I started my rabbinic career in 1993. Bobby and I worked together to reinvigorate the synagogue's museum, which held many artifacts from Beth Israel's then 150-year-long history. At the synagogue, I started a minhag of having the children come up to the bima to join us for Kiddush each Friday night. We had a small tray of cups of grape juice, which I would hand out before the blessing, kind of like what we do at Hartzion with the birthday kids on a family Friday night, back in the before time. We did this every Shabbat to encourage families to bring their children with them to Erev Shabbat services. One night, Bobby presented me with this painting of me handing out the juice. It's very Maud Adams, it's folk art. Can you see it in there, Al?
Yeah.
Sort of? Okay, good. I'm holding it still. As you can see, hopefully, I was a bit bigger then, and in those, I had hair, and in those days, we wore clergy robes for worship on Shabbat. The other painting Bobby gave me was inspired by a Hanukkah story I told one night about a converso girl in Spain named Francisca, who lived in the 15th century. I'll show you the painting after the story. And for those of you who've ever been in my office and wondered what that was, you're about to find out. Since Hanukkah begins this week, and it certainly won't be like Hanukkah's past, I thought it might inspire us to celebrate. Once, in the dark days of King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain, there lived a young girl named Francisca. Fate was not kind to her. For of all times in which to be born, she was born in Spain during the misery of the Inquisition. It was an age of great evil and persecution. For years, Jews who observed their holidays or sought God in prayer or endeavored to teach their children the heritage of their ancestors were imprisoned and often executed upon a burning stake. In August of 1492, Francisca had stood upon the dock and watched as Christopher Columbus set sail for the New World. She had longed to go with him and escape her life of suffering. She prayed for someone to rescue her and all the other secret Jews. Perhaps, she thought, things were different in the New World. Could it be that the New World was really God's Garden of Eden, a paradise where there were no inquisitors and where people loved one another. Francisca had remained on the dock long after the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria had left the harbor. She watched each of the ships sail out to sea and slowly disappear into the horizon. Even when she could no longer see the huge white sails filled with the ocean breeze, she continued to gaze out over the blue waters. Now it was winter. Kislev had come to the world. Francisca and her family knew that it was time for Hanukkah, but they also knew that if they were caught lighting the Chanukiah, they could be imprisoned or worse. One night, toward the very end of Kislev, Francisca lay asleep in her bed. A brilliant moon visited the world that night, and 3 stars appeared in the sky above the town. A breeze stirred and slowly tapped at the shutters to Francisca's window. Gently, it loosened the latch, and the shutters swung open. The breeze floated through the room and stroked Francisca's face with its cool touch. It beckoned to Francisca to ride its invisible wave to lands far away. Francisca was not sure she wanted to embark on such a journey, but the breeze was persistent, and finally she agreed. Up she rose and floated out the window. For just a moment she hovered over her town, marveling at the stillness in the streets. All the houses were dark. No one moved. Cats called to one another. Night birds sang their quiet songs. Then in an instant, Francisca found herself soaring through the skies. She flew over towns, over tall mountains, and through wide valleys. As she passed one of the mountaintops, she reached down to scoop up some snow from the peak. On and on she traveled on the back of the wind. How free she felt. She soared like a bird. For half the night she flew. Then finally the wind began to calm down, and Francisca floated softly down to earth. She landed just outside the mouth of a deep, dark cave. Gently, the breeze pushed Francisca inside the cave. For several moments she could not see at all. It was as black as the blackest of nights. But somehow she did not bump into anything, even once. After a while, she came to a room inside the cave. In the middle of the room, there was a fire burning. And around the fire, sitting on thrones, were 5 figures dressed in robes, their faces hidden from view by their hoods. Francisca, the breeze has brought you to us, said one of the figures. We have heard your prayers, said another. We have a gift for you, said the third. Then they each removed their hoods. The glow of the fire filled their eyes, and even though it was very dark in the cave, it was very easy to see the 5 men. Francisca was astonished. I am Judah Maccabee, said the first man. Next to me sit my 4 brothers. God has given us the task of tending this fire. It is a special flame, kindled by a spark from the divine throne. It is the light of God. Those who are comforted by its warmth find courage and hope. Francisca gazed at the crackling flame. She could feel its warmth. When we first began our struggle against the tyrant Antiochus, said Judah, we hid from his soldiers in caves. One night after a battle, we sat in a cave nursing all our comrades who had been wounded in that day's fighting. It was cold in the cave and dark. No matter how we tried, we could not keep the wind from putting out our fire. That night, for the first and only time, I wondered if we could actually prevail. Could we defeat the most powerful army in the world? Then I remembered the words from the Torah, Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, who is like our God among all of the false gods of the other nations. Those words gave me courage. They gave me strength. I knew at that moment if we believed in the power of Adonai, our God, we would win. Suddenly, our sputtering flame rose and roared. No matter how hard the wind blew that night, the flame continued to burn. The fire was so bright and warm, it made all of us feel brave. After that night, we were never fearful again. The next day, we defeated Antiochus's army and recaptured the temple. Judah stopped speaking and walked toward Francisca. He placed his hands on her shoulders and looked deeply into her eyes. We know that you and your family cannot kindle the lights of the Chanukiah this year. Do not be sad and do not despair. Turn to the flames, Francisca, and study them well. Francisca watched the flames rise and fall. She studied every part of their dance. She memorized the reds, oranges, yellows, whites, and blues that appeared in the fire. She followed every spark that flew out and disappeared into the dark night. Now close your eyes, whispered Judah. Can you still see the flame in your mind? Francisca nodded her head. She did not dare speak, for fear that her voice would shatter the magic of this moment. God's light will always be with you. When you are frightened or sick at heart, all you need to do is close your eyes and find God's light. Tonight is the 4th night of Hanukkah. When you are alone in your room and 3 stars have appeared in the sky, close your eyes, find the lights of God's fire. Feel its warmth. Feel your courage. Then imagine that you have your family's Chanukiah before you. Use this flame to light the candles in your Chanukiah. This is your secret. No one can ever take this flame from you. It will always be there for you whenever you need hope or courage. A gust of wind blew through the shutters and lifted the covers from Francisca's sleeping body and awakened her. She shivered. She was no longer in the cave with the Maccabees. Here she was back in her bed. Had she been dreaming? The moon was shining and spreading its soft white glow over the surface of the street outside. Stars twinkled and sparkled. Then she remembered about the flame. She closed her eyes and the flame appeared just as Judah said it would. She imagined her family's Chanukiah with the shamash in its place and the other candles standing tall, awaiting their kindling flame. Francisca used the flame to kindle her Chanukiah. Then she opened her eyes and looked at the stars once more. What if her evening's adventure had really been a dream? No matter, she thought. God's light is very real. This Hanukkah, she knew she had been given a secret gift, one that would keep forever. And this is the painting that Bobby gave me of Francisca. Can you see it in there, Al?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's there.
Well, otherwise you'll have to come to my office.
There you go.
She's watching the 3 ships as she begins her journey on the wind. These paintings still hang in my office to remind me of Bobby's gifts and of God's light that we will celebrate during this Hanukkah. Chag Urim Sameach. Amen. Okay, back to the regular view, Al?
Yep.
All right, very good. And we will turn to the middle of page 282 or 586 as we rise for Aleinu.
Thank you.
be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. Please be seated. Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. At this time, our Hartzion family extends its sympathies to our members and their families who have suffered a recent loss. Marlene Smith, Dina and Howard on the loss of their husband and father, Sid Smith. Zena Havelock on the loss of her cousin, Fern Middleman. Judy Zworth, Elaine and Eddie Birnbaum, Corey and Polly, Ariel and Shale on the loss of their husband, father, father-in-law, grandfather, and great-grandfather, Mickey Zworth. We also observe Shloshim for Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, and we remember those whose yahrzeits we observe this week. Herschel Alpert, Moses Ackman, Sandy Archinoff, Abraham Backman, Esther Baker, Sarah Balfour, Batya Bibas, Hazel Donner, Charles Elliott, Giti Friedman, Joyce Freeman, Genya Goldman, Benjamin Greenspoon, Sadie Halprin, Charles Krakauer, Vasya Lemkowitz, Sam Lustig, Sylvia Mandel, Jack Marshall, Hilda Matzdorf, Celia Rabowski, Ben Shapiro, Solly Sklar, Estella Strugo, Issy Troyster, Molly Weinstein, Jack Westrich, and Bernard Young. And as we do each Shabbat, we remember some of the Jews of our adopted town of Michle, Czech Republic, who perished in the Shoah. Otto Fluss, Robert Frank, Edvard Forster, Hildegarda Frankova, Ella Forsterova, and Kurt Freund. If anyone has a name to add for Kaddish that I did not share, please say their name aloud. We rise together as a community, here or at home. We remember, too, at this time, those members of our armed forces who have died fighting overseas, our brothers and sisters in Eretz Yisrael who have died in so many wars, and all the innocent people of this world who have lost their lives to violence, conflict, hatred, the chaos of nature, or neglect, as together we pray. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divarach irutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudashah brichu. Ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom b'mrama, huya asei shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And together we say, Amen. Please be seated. At Temple Hartzion, we acknowledge that we are situated on traditional territories and treaty lands. The territories include the Wendat, Anishinaabeg Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nations, and the Métis Nation. As Jews and as a community, may we always strive to fulfill our Jewish value of tzedek tirdof, the pursuit of justice in our society. Just a few announcements before we conclude. For those of you who are here, please leave your sidurim on your chairs when the service is done. Morning minyan services are still taking place held via Zoom, Sundays at 9 a.m., Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7:15 a.m. This Wednesday at 7:30, Eleanor's Piano Bar. Yes? This Thursday at 5:30 p.m., we will have the first candle of Hanukkah lighting together via Zoom. Check out Thursday's e-blast for all the Hanukkah happenings beginning next week. We'll also, on the following week, do the last candle together. Next Friday night at 6:30, join us for a special Kolbo-style musical service on our stream. Followed by an oneg via Zoom at 7:30. I did not know that. Okay, well, fun. So we'll just have a chance to schmooze via Zoom. Right after the service, we're going to have visual tefillah. We're going to have extra musicians here. We'll sing some Hanukkah songs. So please join us Friday night. Saturday night at 8 o'clock is the nationwide Reform Hanukkah celebration. I had a sneak preview of the whole video today. It is amazing. It's a lot of fun. So join us for that. The link, I believe, is in your e-blast and on our website. And so really, it's going to be fun. Marzi is singing a song. The cantor is part of a giant choir of cantors and soloists. I'm telling a tiny piece of the story. There's a cooking demonstration. There's all kinds of great stuff. So please join us for that. Refer to Thursday's e-blast for links and other events, or go to hartzion.ca. And we will conclude this evening singing Shir HaMalot on page 331 or 635.